Thanks. And then we have Richard Buss, who is our director of YNOT Mail, and as long of an industry veteran as me, maybe even longer.
I could be. I've been in the industry now over 20 years. I work for YNOT. I am the products manager for YNOT. I run YNOT Mail and also YNOT Market and perhaps a few other things. I've always been involved in email marketing to some degree since starting in the industry. I started running pay sites probably back in '97 was my first pay site. And pretty early on, we discovered that email marketing was a huge part of that. Today, running YNOT Mail, I see a lot of cam models and website operators. They're having their email campaigns and they're using MailChimp and Mailgun and other services. And every now and then, as soon as you submit a ticket and they actually look at what you're sending, they have a problem with the content. And that's when people end up coming over to YNOT Mail. Right now, with all these third-party social media platforms, OnlyFans, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, they can delete your account at any moment. So we really want to kind of give you the idea that you need to move towards email marketing so that if you are removed from OnlyFans or TikTok or Twitter, you have a way to reach out to all of your customers instantly without having to rely on a non-adult platform. So that's my spiel.
Thank you very much, Richard. Yeah, I mean, I'll just add that, any social media platform, anything can drop you for any reason at any time. I mean, we've seen it happen a zillion times with Instagram. We've seen people have their Facebook accounts blocked. Twitter, people have been losing accounts. When you're on something, you're at the mercy of that platform. You need to play by their rules. And a lot of times our industry gets fucked, even though we are playing by the rules. So that can happen at any time. And that's why it's so important to get into the mindset of, staying in touch with your fans on your own time and getting an email address or getting, putting together your own email marketing list, because these are people that are supporting your livelihood. And if your platform goes and you don't have other ways of reaching a whole group of people, in some cases, thousands of fans, what are you going to do? And it's a hard mindset to get into if it's something that you haven't done before. And the bottom line is that it works. It's a time consuming thing, and it is a mindset. I mean, just for example, YNOT? We can't even post on Facebook. YNOT has, we're banned from posting URLs of our articles directly on Facebook, which, sucks because that's cutting off a significant portion of people that use that platform for business. So, I guess without further ado, what I would like to do here is just kind of pass the mic over to Melrose. And let's see, what do I got here? We've done our intros. I just want to make sure that we're staying on top of things. Yeah, Melrose, if you could just, I guess, jump into things about how the importance of setting up email marketing, in this day and age, and, dealing with reasons why something like this is important to do and how to do it.
Yeah, so I think you even just touched on a really good point. Aside from the volatility of us on social media and these kind of third-party platforms that don't want us there and actively discriminate against sex workers and adult creators, even something so far-fetched as like when I launched the clothing line, I'm literally not allowed to run ads on Facebook because I have a sex worker clothing line, despite it being there's showing nothing. These are hoodies and t-shirts, people. These are like not sexually explicit in any way, but even something to that extent, the only way to overcome obstacles that we face on social is with an email list. I can't tell you how many 50,000 viewer Snapchat accounts I've lost over the years. I can't tell you how many, 20K plus TikToks and Instagrams I've lost. But if I was able to accumulate all of those fans in an email list successfully in a manageable way, and if I had started sooner, who knows what my brand would be today. So if we can collectively help a bunch of sex workers to not have to sell themselves short down the road, I think that's fundamental to a serious entrepreneur and to a serious business model. So the importance of email in adults is it's tenfold. It's a place to collect your audience. It's a place to assure your stability and your longevity like over the course of your career as a performer. And it's fundamental because we don't have a lot of lanes to do this kind of thing and or to have this kind of recourse with our fans. So it's extremely, extremely important, especially coming from a performer, an adult who's experienced it firsthand. So in terms of just email capture, because of the current climate and what we're facing with OnlyFans, just so creators could feel a little bit more secure, what I was suggesting right out the gate when I saw the news about OnlyFans and the things that were coming out is that you need to start collecting your emails, which obviously from these paywalls, like the Fan Centers, the OnlyFans, the Fansly, whatever you want to be on or use, you're still not getting access to your data or your email list. So the immediately thing I tweeted from SexWorkCEO was that you needed to mass message your fans, ask them for their emails so that they don't lose access to you should something happen with any platform that you're on. So like that should be your first step, is reaching out to your fan base in some sort of mass communication process, a mass DM, something of the sort, and ask them for their email. They will typically be more than happy to give it to you. And based off my own experience with OnlyFans, you can ask that, and they will give you the information. So immediately after the news broke, that's what I did. I sent out a mass message. I encourage everyone listening here to do the same. And I started collecting all the emails to a spreadsheet. And that was the move number one. So start collecting the emails. You can use mass DMs to do it, in building the list. So in addition to that, there's multiple ways to build an email list, and me and Carly, and I'm sure Jay can speak to that in detail. But one of the simple things, aside from just asking fans for emails via a direct message or PM, is that you can actually implement a very quick and easy website, like a splash page that has email capture built in. So one of the things I consistently utilize for quick things like this, I don't know, Jay, if I can share my screen, but if you want to make sure that I can, I will share my technique here. Okay, I can share.
If I make your host, no, I didn't even need to do. Well done.
Perfect. Okay. So what I like to do is I'm a big fan of Wix for anything quick in terms of a website. It doesn't take a lot of back-end, designer knowledge or technical ability to launch a Wix website. It's pretty simple. So you can just go to wix.com, you can pick from their templates, and you'll be taken to a website builder, something like this. Very simple. You can literally click, you can edit the text, you can drag things different places, wherever you want it to go. So let's say that we're building a little landing page for email capture. All I would have to do is I can change this text, right, to say, never lose sight of me again. That's sex workery, sight of me again. And then I can go over here to add. I can click on the contact form. And boom, as easy as, what was that, 3 clicks, you have started to have a form to capture email. In the simplicity of this, if you go over here and click preview, this is what your website would look like. You could get a domain and redirect your domain to point to this link once you publish the website, which you would click just here. And then once you have this published, you could literally put this in your bio on Instagram. It's not an adult site, it's just an email capture. Or you blast it on Telegram to your Telegram broadcast group or your Discord, or just put it out there on Twitter and say, if you really care about me and want to support me, sign up for my email list. And then you can start to see these names come in over time. And then you've built something that you can fall back on should, pardon my French, but should things hit the fan, you're prepared and you're ahead of the curve. And it's so significant that you have this to fall back on. And you can do it in less than 5 clicks. So there's no excuse for any creator to not do this. And you can actually have it hosted completely for free. So even if you didn't want to pay for the Wix service, this would be the branding down here at the bottom that would still be on your website. So even with this for free, you're getting to the end goal. You're localizing or centralizing your fan base, and you have something to fall back on, and it didn't cost you a dime. So that's my little 2 cents about landing pages and how to start the email capture process in the fan capture process.
Sorry, just had to unmute. My dogs are barking. Another one of my favorite things to do when you're trying to have a meeting. So, okay. So yeah, I mean, one question that I've encountered a few times was, sometimes people feel like they can't ask for emails, or the platform will forbid it, and if they get caught, they'll get booted off. Or how do I go about? It's a very, very time-consuming thing because I've got thousands of fans that have spent money on me at one time or another. I mean, it's obviously not something that you can get done overnight. Um, but it's, clearly something that everybody needs to get in the mindset, because once you own an email list, it's yours. No one's taking that email list away from you. So Melrose showed us how to capture emails using a Wix site. Perhaps Carly, maybe you might be able to cover how you might do it with, I guess, with any of the websites that you build, or if you have anything to say as to that on, because I know a lot of creators are very interested in actually having their own sites now. This is something that, a lot of people, they just had like their link tree or whatever, but now it's like, it's time to have a website. So you could cover
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. I would say that we're huge proponents, obviously, as a website design firm. We're obviously big fans of having personal websites because, in addition, I mean, unless you're on a platform that's a little risky and isn't as safe, sex worker friendly, you can always, if you're not looking to go the Wix route, we actually build exclusively in WordPress, which is an open source content management system. You may have heard that WordPress is not sex worker friendly. That's actually if you host with them. If you get an independent hosting package, which they're all sorts, like HostGator is great, TMD hosting is great. It can be very inexpensive, and WordPress will be installed for free. Not gonna lie, there is a steep learning curve, but we do tend to be big fans of the Elementor page builder. So Melrose, I sent you a slide of, if you want to see the interface of WordPress, that's forthcoming. Here we go. So this slide here is the HTML code that YNOT Mail sent me, that I just have to pop into a field that allows for HTML. You don't need to know coding for Elementor. It's a drag and drop page builder. However, I copy this and I pop it into an area where it says, okay, HTML code. And it comes up immediately looking like that, because YNOT Mail has already done all the work for you. Now, if you're not able to do YNOT Mail as of right now, or you just prefer to do a self-hosted version, I am a big fan of the newsletter plugin as well. That's an alternative option. You do need to have access to sort of the techie stuff. So that's usually if you are more tech savvy, or alternatively, you're having a third party, a webmaster build a site for you. Obviously, with a website, you're able to integrate the email marketing platform or service that you're using, whether that be YNOT Mail, an alternative option, whether it's literally in-house, the way that the newsletter plugin is. I want to just keep reiterating what my colleagues have said, is that you own that. You can't, a platform can't take that away from you. The terms of service can't mess with you. And also, it makes it a lot easier when building a list, spreadsheets, whatever works for you. Whatever is going to help you streamline your administration efforts. And then also just really, right now, it is literally about just collecting. It is all about collecting, reaching those fans, engaging with them. And don't be shy about reaching out to them if you don't do it in a mass way. They're well aware of what is going on. So the more you just sort of just do it and reach out, the more contact information you're going to have on your personal proprietary list. And I do encourage you eventually to look, if you start with spreadsheets, it does get a little unwieldy once you start executing email marketing campaigns, because that's sort of when you start dealing with opt-outs and managing your lists and everything of that nature. So, but it's a process. It doesn't need to all happen overnight, but obviously there is sort of a time pressure right now because of the indefinite suspension.
Well, yeah, the beautiful thing is that, October 1st is going to be a day of reckoning now. Only because is about faced it, but at the same time, as far as I'm concerned, they've tipped their hand. So it's like, now we're going to do this. Now we're not going to do this. Was it a publicity stunt? Was it not a publicity stunt? At the end of the day, it fucked with a lot of people's heads. And, the last thing any of us need is something like that coming from inside the industry, because believe me, we've all got more than enough of our share of it coming from outside the industry. I mean, we're all here to work. We're all here to make money. And the last thing we need to do is worry about, well, are they going to change their mind again? What's going to happen? And people are already jumping.
I think your mic is rubbing against something, Jay. You're muffled.
Yeah, we cut out about halfway through.
Probably because I live in Central Texas, and our governor doesn't really work well with the electricity companies. So, how about now? Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I actually want to pass it over to Richard right now and talk about ways that people can work with YNOT Mail, or at least if they're not working with us, methods that you think are really good for capturing email addresses, and how to actually nurture that list and deal with it so that it's up to date and as useful as you can make it.
Okay, so what Melrose mentioned with Wix works fantastic. That's great. And I've always known about Wix, but I never really explored them because I'm more of a webmaster myself. And of course, Carly was talking about WordPress directly. And any discussion that WordPress is unfriendly to adult is just completely not true. Maybe if you're hosting with them, that's one thing, but I am running outright adult blogs using WordPress. I have now since WordPress came out about 2005 or so. I literally have hundreds of such blogs. So adult with them is not a problem. And still, I've been collecting email addresses off of all of my blogs, and I always have. It's just with YNOT Mail, it's a simple matter of just grabbing, Carly showed you the text. That's something that every account can generate. You slam it into WordPress one way or the other, depending on what template you're using, and you'll be able to start collecting email addresses. Once you have them, or once you start collecting them, it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to start sending email immediately. As long as you're collecting that information, so that way 6 months or a year from now, if OnlyFans no longer does adult, or if TikTok kicks you off, or Twitter, this way you have some kind of a backup plan in place where you can start emailing people on a regular basis. When you come to YNOT Mail, you get to work with me. I'm pretty easy to work with. If you can't get in touch with me, you could always yell at Jay. Jay goes to all the shows. Jay knows everyone. It'll get back to Jay if I'm not helpful. So I kind of have to be helpful. And I love helping people. I love watching the success that people have. Some people come to us, with a small email list. They have problems right out of the gate, which is very common the first few times that you send. After that, we kind of fix things a little bit. And then, we see the amount of emails being collected, and the amount of emails landing in inboxes is working really great. But the one big thing about email marketing that I need to hit on is that everyone on the internet has an email address. If you're on Twitter, you have to have an email address. If you're on TikTok, in order to have an account with any of these social media platforms, you have to have an email address. And we don't even realize this, but the numbers for email marketing is staggering. Over, what was it? 347 billion emails are being sent out every day. And the return on investment for email marketing is about $42. So for every dollar that you're investing in the email marketing, you should be getting about 42 percent, or excuse me, $42 back.
That's huge. That's amazing. I mean, that's a great markup.
Open rates overall for the entire industry of email marketing, meaning non-adults, is about 20%. But if you're willing to put in a small amount of effort, and I can show people how to do this, you can actually get 40, 50%. We have one customer at YNOT Mail that has a 95% open rate. It's a very small list. It's only like 1,800 people, but everyone opens their emails. But it shouldn't be difficult to get 20, 30, or 40% with your open rates, and I can help people do that. I should also add here that YNOT itself is working on a project where people from OnlyFans and Fan Central, et cetera, cam models, they'll be able to have a small little landing page with YNOT that we're working on. I hope I can announce this. It hasn't been finalized. It's something we're working on. And you'll be able to set up a form with YNOT Mail directly onto a page that YNOT gives you. And people will be able to collect emails that way. And because we'll be directly integrated with YNOT Mail, you'll be able to send out also with YNOT Mail. So that's something that we should have coming in the next week or so.
That's
Well,
amazing.
I'm sorry?
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
I wanted to actually address a quick question. I'm sorry if I'm missing anybody's question in the chat room, but Cinnamon asks a great question. How far back should you go in collecting email addresses? Like how far back? I mean, obviously it's going to vary greatly. I mean, we've had people approach us with email lists that they've had for 10, 15 years. And I mean, yeah, all of us has like that one email or two that we've used forever. That's never going away, but people change email addresses all the time. They let them lapse, or they just, lose them or somehow, and then they end up in the wrong hands somewhere else. So, if anybody has anything to say as to that, how long is an email good on average, so to speak, if you're going to go and start putting your list together?
I'll take this. I beat Carly.
And then Carly,
I would go with 2 to 3 years. Anything older than 2 to 3 years is a little bit suspect. And what happens is if you send to an email that you collected 3 or 4 years ago, people are going to go, I'm sorry, how did you get my email address? So that could always be a bit of a problem. If you have older data and that you're really insisting on sending to that older data, what you can do is, start with your core of the past 2 to 3 years, and then very slowly, month after month, introduce some of the older data. But you have to be very specific about cleaning your list, meaning you have to go back after every send, see who actually opened up the emails, move them to what I call a clean list or a golden list, and then email only those. You don't want to be emailing people that aren't opening up your emails, because that's bad. But I would start with 2 to 3 years.
Carly, same question, please.
I think, yeah, I mean, that's sort of one of the reasons why it's so good to go with an email delivery service as opposed to, or an email marketing platform, because it gives you that data in a way that just BCCing on a Gmail email blast is not going to give you. So being able to keep an eye on how much of your audience and your fan base on your list is actually engaging with your emails, not just opening, but maybe clicking through to your social, to your personal website, to, whichever platform you want to promote in that campaign. I think it really does come down to the data in a way, but that does get a little bit more sophisticated, because at a certain point, it's not just, okay, I've got these emails, now what do I do with them? And how do I keep a good list that is going to be more quality necessarily than just tons of, email addresses that don't open your messages?
I would agree. I think the quality over quantity is so important for email list building. You don't want to send stuff out that is going to bounce, because it's going to hurt your rating, and there is a rating. And then if your rating gets hurt, then the emails to the quality candidates or the quality fans, or whatever your email list is aimed for, then those are not going to get into the inboxes that you want them to. So I understand definitely why Richard mentioned starting with your most recent email subscribers first, or most recent emails that you've captured, because they're most likely to open and give you that rating that you're really trying to get. So even if you start adding back older emails after the fact, it shouldn't impact your rating as much as what you've already established with the newer, more recent email captures.
And plus, you could start doing email marketing like right away. I mean, you don't need to be like, okay, I'll wait until I have 1,000 people on my list or anything like that. I mean, you always want to start smaller and start ramping up as you go, so that you can build your reputation and, work your list, make sure that they're getting into inboxes, make sure that you're being able to look through your email and rate it for spam. I mean, we have these protections in place that show you what your score is, so to speak, which is going to affect your inboxing. And then, obviously you want to really avoid those bounces, especially, the hard bounces. So I can't stress enough that you can get started. And even if you have a list of 50 or 100 and you're able to market to that email list, especially if they're your top customers, you're going to get those high rates of opens like Richard mentioned. And that's what's really going to help you. And, and then there's that number of people just getting in. I mean, $42 made for every dollar spent. I mean, if you're spending $50 a month on your email marketing, that averages out to what, $2,000 that you've just made on a typical month. I mean, if you're throwing new content up and 10 or 20 of those people go and now they're customers for the rest of the year or the next year, just from that one email that you sent out. And now if you do the math and you're sending something like that out every time you update every 2 to 3 days or something, it really starts to add up. And this is just something that a lot of people, unfortunately, are leaving money on the table. But now it's been a wake-up call. So hopefully, people will start taking heed to that. I wanted to also, unless somebody else had anything to interject with that. Okay. I wanted to talk about, the fact of putting explicit content in your emails, and dealing with like the Canned Spam Act. We have a number of clients at YNOT Mail where they put, some pretty explicit content in their emails. And I just wanted to see if any of you had any comments about that, on how to do it, and what to look out for, obviously.
I can speak to this a little bit. So when I had done an email campaign for 420 and I blasted it to my fans, I think this was around the time that I want to say that I launched my OnlyFans, because I wasn't an early adopter for that platform. So when I put out this blast, the clever way to include any kind of content, whether it's like a photo or video, if it's relatively adult or even slightly sexy, you bake it into a graphic. At least that's what's worked for me really well. Is if you can put your content in a graphic. A really good way of doing this that's also very easy, similar to Wix, is canva.com. It's really convenient. It's really drag and drop. You can add a picture, you can add some text, you can literally make a newsletter in Canva, save the whole thing as a graphic and insert it in your YNOT Mail or your email service provider. And also it helps curb a lot of the language not barriers, but the languages, the words we cannot use, or the language we cannot use on emails that could get us triggered. So for this launch and for the graphic that I'm talking about, it was a 420 sale. Well, you're not supposed to say sale in a subject line or an email, because that could flag it and get it sent to like a spam or a junk inbox instead of the main inbox. So instead of putting sale in the text or the copy of the email, I would put it in the graphic along with the sexier imagery, and then put it in the body of the email that way in a graphic, so that it's not going to trigger any of these obstacles, so to speak, to getting in the fan's inbox itself.
Yeah, I can actually talk about the Canned Spam Act, because now that we're all hyper aware of terms of service and things of this nature. So back in, I think it was 2003, the government, the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, got aware of the fact that email is now a form of spam. And this area, or this way of push marketing, in which you're literally putting your materials in front of someone as opposed to hoping they just sort of find you. It is abbreviated for controlling the assault of non-solicited pornography and marketing, which I love that they just automatically put those two together. But so there are 7 areas of criteria. This is literally the law. So the business name, from field, reply to, everything has to be from your business name. You can't be deceptive in any way. You need to have honest subject lines, which similarly are not like, hey, big sale on gardening equipment. And then, we open and it's, your ManyVids links. This is a little bit, I think, a gray area a little bit, because a lot of people don't comply with this. But if you want to be completely compliant with the Can-Spam Act, which everyone should, you do have to put somewhere that it's a bit of an ad. Not everyone does that. I'm just saying, proceed at your own peril. It definitely, and this is what a lot of people stumble with, is the fact that it does have to have a physical address. A lot of people put this in the footer. A lot of people try to get around it. You have to have it. It's the law. It does not need to be your personal mailing address. It could be a P.O. box. I've gotten away with having more generic city-based locations, but I don't advise that. Very specifically, the very important one, the opt-out process must be easy to do, and it has to be explicitly disclosed. It must be as easy for, a 15-year-old tech savant in his basement to do as my grandmother to do. So, and I didn't put it here, but it is really important. You can't email people without their consent. They literally have to, what's called opting in. They have to provide explicit consent. Now, if you have old emails and you're like, hey, I would love to put you on my list. Is that all right? Is it all right if I subscribe you? That's a good way to sort of circumvent the non-soliciting of emails and everything else. But if you do get those opt-out requests, and this is why it's a little tricky if you're going off of more spreadsheet or Google Sheets or however you're tracking your list and your emails, it is the law that you have to take those emails out. You have to honor those requests, and you can't use them again. Like they are out, which is why using an email marketing platform such as YNOT Mail or such as, your other options, it tracks that for you. It just makes the administration a little bit easier. And of course, we're all trying to work smarter, not more time. So streamlining the administration aspect is definitely going to work in your favor, but whatever works for you in the beginning that's not overwhelming and that is manageable, I would say. Now, on top of that, the very last thing is that regardless of whether you have a third-party company doing your email marketing, you are still legally responsible for it. So you always want to be on top of what your team, your advisor, your consultants are doing, because if you do get what's called blacklisted, they can basically prevent you. They can put you on a literal blacklist. And when I say you, I mean your domain. Like you can't use Jay at YNOT or Carly at We Are PS Group. Like the whole site's down. So that's a very extreme example, but you always want to be on top of being in compliance. Better to be safe than sorry when it comes to things like this, I would say, especially if you're putting all the work and effort into building a list. You don't want to be prevented from being able to utilize that list. Just to go really quickly, there's a new clause, which is a little confusing, which is that sexually explicit content within an email technically has to have in the subject line sexually explicit material. And the actual content of the website, of the email, the email has to be cloaked in some way. The recipient must engage with that email, whether it's scrolling or clicking or whatever. However, unless the recipient has consented specifically to receiving explicit material, Now, this gets into a really gray area. So just in general, keep it pretty safe for work. You can always, I mean, and also like, don't give away too much for free, you know, tease them with safe for work, titillating content, no pun intended, but titillating content that drives traffic wherever you're looking to drive your traffic.
So
And I can touch really quickly on the rating question, unless Richard, you wanna. Okay, so the rating, Selena and Trixie, is that your email address, that address that is being used for your email marketing, internet service providers such as like a Gmail, a Yahoo, a Proton Mail, any email platform like that is going to look at that email address and sort of assign points in a way based on how authoritative they think your emails are, how legitimate they are, how spam looking they are, things like that. And so they assign that email address a score. And based on that score is very often whether they will filter you to spam, whether they'll put you in the promotions box, or whether they put you in the inbox. So you always, Melrose, I hope it's okay to say, we're going to be doing an email marketing video series, which is going to be a course on not just how to get emails, but what to do with those emails when you have them. And we get into list management and keywords that you shouldn't really, or that you should try to avoid. And we get into all sorts of things like how to break down your lists into sub lists, start personalizing. But that's sort of like the first and foremost, start capturing the emails. I would say that is like absolutely number one. And like we said, I think it was, Jay, if you don't send it for 6 months, no big deal. No big deal. Just start building that that equity, I guess. Those emails are gold, and it is up to you what you want to do with them, as opposed to being imprisoned by terms of service from different platforms or social media sites.
Exactly. Richard, did you have something that you wanted to add to that?
yeah, I just want to emphasize that everything that Carly said was absolutely perfectly spot on.
Yeah.
Everyone fears government regulation, especially the adult industry. And in this particular case, in the early 2000s, email spam was completely out of control. You would open up your email box and there would be, you'd have 3 emails and then you have 200 spams. It was really bad. And what they're trying to do is they're just trying to give themselves the tools so that they can come after you if they want. All the things that they're asking are reasonable. They want you to be able to, the big one, the really big one is to make sure that people are unable to subscribe. If you're a legitimate email marketer, that's going to be the big thing that you have to have. And it has to work too. Don't play games with this. If someone unsubscribes from a list, you don't want to be marketing to them because they can cause problems later on for you down in the future. Having a physical address, including a PO box, that's good. So that way, if someone ever gets in trouble, they know where they need to go to contact someone. Although it's a little bit more complicated than just that. As far as for the section about explicit material, that's very vague. I come from a teasing side of the industry. I believe that you should not be sending out anything that's not safe for work. Anything beyond that, and why give away the milk? What's the saying? Why give away the cow if you just want to give them the milk or something like that?
Yeah, don't give away why give away the cow or make the milk? Fuck, I don't remember it either. Make the milk for free.
You're trying to sell them to your website, so you don't want to be giving them everything right up front. You want them to come to your website to see the good stuff. So be teasy about it. My philosophy with email marketing and the explicit material section of the Can Spam Act is you can show a little bit of nudity. You can show breasts, you can show penis. Don't put anything in anything, toys or cocks or in anything, or even tongues in anything. Stay away from those things, and I think you're going to be fine. 10, 11 years I've been working for YNOT Mail. Not once has anyone ever gotten into any trouble at any level about the type of content they're putting out. So I would not be concerned about that. And also, Carly talked about the rating system or the scoring system. We don't know exactly how Gmail and Yahoo and AOL and Hotmail, I forget which ones I said already. We don't know how they're rating it, but somehow I think that they're rating you as a sender and also rating the emails that you're sent. And that's based on, a number of set criteria that they won't tell us, because if they tell us, then we'll be able to walk right around all their rules and restrictions and be able to land in everyone's inboxes. If you do something bad, especially with Gmail, they know who you are, and you could send out 300,000 emails on one platform and then sign up to YNOT Mail the other day and send out a completely different email with a completely different domain name, and somehow magically they will know who you are. They have some kind of system that just knows who you are, no matter how you're sending or what you're sending. So, I mean, just everyone in our industry is pretty serious about what they're doing. They're upfront with what they're doing. They're not doing anything deceitful. And I think Carly also, or maybe it was Melrose, mentioned certain words that you can't use. Sale is the big one. We're all trying to sell something, but you can't come out and say, because once you say sale, 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 that's going to stop you from getting in the inbox. Melrose also mentioned putting text in pictures. We have some companies at YNOT Mail that are actually modeling agencies, and they say, oh, we have model Stephanie, who is good for girl, girl, boy, boy, threesomes, anal, etc. Sorry, you can't say anal in an email. That will never get through. So what they do is they make up little like model cards, and they put in the card, in the photo itself, what they can and will not do. So that way they don't have to put those words in there.
Here's actually a large list that I'm putting into the chat, which was compiled, which is all sort of avoid them words. And you would be surprised at what some of them are. I mean, who knew that you can't say wife in a subject line, and they'll be on to that. So that's a great resource it also gives you a little bit of your creative juices flowing in terms of what words to actually use and what to avoid.
Yeah, and there's also, even just with some quick Googling, there's subject line generators out there that are completely free to use. You just Google effective email subject line generator, and it should pop up for you, where it'll give you a rating on how emotional, what the emotional indicators of your subject line are. So how apt someone is to click and open your email. It'll give you a score to help you get that rating higher, so they're more likely to open it and get your open rates up. But also, if your words or the language you're using in your subject lines are dangerous, they're going to hurt your rating. So even if you Google like subject line generators, you can get a lot of free assistance in coming up with these, these difficult things where we're not sure what language to use or how to go about it.
Yeah, and plus, you can do A/B testing with us.
Yes.
Come up with two completely different subject lines, see which ones are getting opened, see which ones are, you can watch the funnel as it happens, who's opening it, who's actually taking action, and then of course, ultimately, who's making a purchase.
Something else I need to add here is that if you're using a newsletter system like YNOT Mail that is actually sending out emails in HTML, you have to watch what is actually in your HTML. We have built-in templates at YNOT Mail, and one of the templates, all of the images that were embedded into the design of the template itself had the term sale in it. It was, sale01.jpg, sale02.jpg, et cetera, et cetera. And no matter how we sent out that email using that template, it would never, ever, ever land in the inbox. And it took us a while to figure it out. It's because it says the word sale, even though you don't see it in the text. In the HTML, it says sale like 20 different times, and that's never going to get through into the inbox. So if you're sending out through a system that's actually using HTML and you're using an HTML template, watch what terms you're using in the email itself. And that also goes for domain names as well. If you have the word sale in the domain name, that's bad. When you're creating a domain name, don't use words like sale or sex or exotic or erotic. Try to stay away from all those adult terms. A good example is Melrose Michaels. That is not, there's no dirty words in that domain name. So that's what you want to go for when going for a domain name.
Yeah, not having your emails end up in people's inboxes. I mean, it's something that's so avoidable. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do. I mean, obviously that's many steps ahead, because right now I think a lot of people that we're dealing with are just now learning that they need to get into the habit of even capturing email addresses to start marketing to. And, actually, there was another question in the chat that I wanted to address real quick. And this is another thing where it's going to vary from person to person. How often would any of you say, once you've actually generated an email list of any significant size, how often should you be hitting that email list?
I would say as often as you can commit to it consistently, because inconsistencies in sending out can hurt your sender score. If you're blasting out a ton of people right away, and then you don't send an email for, I don't know, 3 months or something, and then you send like 3 in a week, they're going to pick up, internet service providers are going to pick up on that as spam, as opposed to like, I had other stuff going on. So I would say like it as often as you can while staying consistent. Like, make a commitment to yourself. I am going to send out something every single week, or I'm going to send out something once a month, but just remain consistent.
I would add that for like a personal brand, like me as a performer, because what I'm pushing out is either trying to get new users to my platform or let them know about some kind of promotional thing that's going on. Like, I'm going to be at, Exotica, or I'm going to be at whatever. I'm typically sticking with my fan base to 1 or 2 emails a month, which that is kind of the tipping point at where I don't see a lot of unsubscribes. They're happy to see my email come in, and I'm in a nice, like, balanced place. But in terms of like SexWorkCEO as a platform, that email list, because I'm talking to creators and I'm providing like resources or a new course or a blog or whatever, something like that, that's not performer to fan, that's more business to business or B2B, that you could probably get away with once a week. The average company is pretty much pushing emails once a week. So I think it's partly like, know your fan base, keep an eye on your unsubscribes or your opt-out numbers, and then figure out what's going to work best for your audience that you've built. Some of our audiences love to be in contact with us, the more the better. And then some of our audiences are like, no, opt out, opt out, opt out. So just, I would say test. It's something to test.
Yeah, you could also always ask your fans too. Like, do you want to hear from me once a month? Do you want weekly updates and things like that? The more you engage with your fans and the people who have consented to be on your list, the more you're going to have, like, those opens, those click-through rates, and eventually those conversions.
Yeah, I mean, polling your fans is always a great idea. And I mean, I'm an example of someone who does it.
Jay, we lost
it in. What happened?
We lost you for a moment.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. This freaking internet in this part of the state, I don't know, it goes in and out a lot. I'm one of those people that like getting emails. If it's a company that I know, if it's something that I've opted into, if it's a company that got my email address from a show or something like that, information is very important to me. I want to know what's going on. I want to see everything. And honestly, if I really don't want to get something, almost all the people that I do business with make it very easy to opt out. I mean, yeah, I can't stress the importance of making it very easy to opt out. The last thing you ever want is someone reaching for that, spam button and reporting you, or, listing you as spam. It's going to hurt your score, and it's just not good for anyone. That's why it's so important to make it really obvious on how to get out of an email. And, if people want to receive it, then they're not going to go for it. But I mean, just like one example, I mean, I get an email from Chatterbait every single day about who's going online. And, it just shows 5 random models that are featured that are doing a show. Sometimes I might know that model. Sometimes I might not. Occasionally what I'll do, I'll find them on Twitter. I'll add them. I'll follow them. And now all of a sudden I've just made a new contact. And now this is somebody who might be interacting with YNOT in some way, shape, or form. Or they might come to our trade show, or they might want to join something like this. So that's why I'm like a big fan because it's so easy to delete an email. As long as it's a legitimate one, I don't mind getting it. And I think your fans are going to be the same way. I mean, it might take 10, 20, 30 emails to that fan before they ever take any kind of action. And that's why looking at your stats is very important and seeing what kind of an open rate you're getting and who's clicking and doing whatever. But I mean, if people aren't reporting it, I mean, I've had emails from companies for years where I still haven't taken action on it, but I don't mind getting the emails. So it's gonna run the gamut all over the place. And I just want to, let people know that they should not be discouraged if they're not getting the results or the stats that they want right away.
Yes. Can I just hop in here for a second? If
Please.
something bombs, that's actually a good thing because you learn from that. It gives you data of what doesn't work. And you can test from there. And this is something, the testing component is something that we get into in the forthcoming course that Melrose and I will be doing.
Absolutely. I would also say, I know when I was first trying to learn and like navigate the email marketing space, because it's not so self-explanatory. If you really haven't had any education or watched something like this or gotten a kind of an intro overview of what the process is in general. But when I was first starting, I did what Carly and Robert or Richard were talking about. I burned my domain. So I was doing the emails, I was sending out bad emails, I got a bad rating, I was completely clueless. That's how I learned. And I burned my domain. So then I understand, okay, this domain is no longer useful. I can't use it for anything. It's been flagged. I need to either get a new IP or shift and start over with a new domain. And that's what I did. So also, if you're learning, it might be worthwhile to get a separate domain in case you burn it.
Yep.
I've actually gotten
think
reported before for a previous ad agency. I almost burned the domain.
Nice.
Yeah.
Richard, you had something to add?
I think that sending out email is something you should do once a week. You want to consistently remain in someone's good graces. I do have one customer at YNOT Mail that sends out to about 50,000 people once or twice a day, which I think is a lot.
Yeah.
I am on the email lists for pretty much everyone at YNOT Mail and also every company that I've ever done business with, including non-adult stuff. There's a t-shirt company called 80s Tees, and every day they send me an email. And it's gotten to the point where, I bought a t-shirt from you 6 months ago. I understand you're trying to get me to come back to your site, but I'm really not that interested. Once a week would be great, but I don't need a daily email. I also think that if you're going to send out email, I think Wednesday is the best day to send out. Wednesday or maybe Thursday morning.
Tuesdays as well. I mean, it really depends, I think. And that's something that's going to vary from model to model based on your personal fan base and how your customers interact with you.
Yep. Keep tweaking it. Keep working your angle. Keep, testing subject lines and, just stay engaged. Try text emails, try emails with images only. I mean, there's all different ways you can reach out to your customers. And, it's always best, at least for now, since time really isn't of the essence like it was yesterday, for everyone to, start collecting the emails and just being prepared to start using that marketing arm that, you maybe have neglecting or maybe haven't been doing it totally right. I mean, there's people out there that'll get hundreds of emails and then they'll try to send it all out through their Yahoo email or through Hotmail or through something like that. And that's, it's just a recipe for disaster. So, I wanted to ask, is there any other questions? I guess because we are at an hour now, is there any questions that anyone has that we didn't touch on? If they want to throw it in the chat, or if any of our fantastic speakers have points that they wanted to get across that they weren't able to during the session, to please do it now. Otherwise, I'm going to give everyone another opportunity since I hit recording a little bit late to mention who they are, what their platform is, and why you'd be crazy not to do business with them. So,
Melrose, I defer to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, just back background, I guess, on me is I'm coming from being a performer, a veteran in the industry, and I've launched the SexWorkCEO platform, which is an educational platform for sex workers to kind of give everyone the learning curve that I had to go through over 10 years and try and fail and burn domains and lose all my fans and start over. So it's designed to educate sex workers and to give them a more level playing field when they're approaching this from a business perspective. Not only are we releasing video courses, the courses that we do release are not specifically just sex work related. You know, they have other tangents like email marketing, which is a mainstream skill, as well as things like launching a Shopify store or launching a podcast. It's a way to fill the skills gaps that a lot of sex workers tend to have because there's no one formally educating us as business people. So I encourage you guys all to go check out sexworkceo.com, follow SexWorkCEO on Twitter. I'm Melrose Michaels all over social, and I hope that I can help you guys more along the way.
Cool. I'm Carly. I'm the head of PS Group, which is marketing, and we build websites exclusively for sex workers. And we are going to be focusing the next few months on a lot of microsites, a lot of landing pages. So if any of you are in need or interested in a personal website, I'd be happy to talk to you, tell you about our process and how things go. But yeah, I'm a former sex worker and I just love this industry. And it was so important to me to combine my multiple lives of advertising and sex work and entertainment and all of it together. But the biggest thing for me really is like being able to empower this community in ways that might feel overwhelming at the beginning.
Excellent. And Richard.
My name is Richard Buss. I work for YNOT. I'm the products manager for 11 or 12 years now. I run YNOT Mail and YNOT Markets. I've been doing email marketing. I've been in the industry now for over 20 years. I've been doing email marketing pretty much since day one to some degree or another. And now for the past 10 or 11 years with YNOT, I've been doing it full time. I love to help. I love to see people be successful in email marketing. I love it when I hear that someone started at X and pretty much all they're doing is email marketing, and now they're doing 10 times better. I love to help. I'm easy to reach. Anything I can do to make everyone's dreams and goals and hopes come true.
Awesome. And just like once again, my name's Jay. I'm one of the owners of YNOT. I'm not going to go through the litany of all of our properties and everything. Just know that I'm very accessible. You can find me on Twitter at YNOTLAJ, or you can email me jay@ynot.com if you have any questions. I want to thank our panelists, Melrose Michaels, Carly David, Richard Buss. Melrose and Carly, first of all, thank you both so much for setting this up and getting things arranged on your end. Really appreciate the two of you. You're both amazing people to work with. I can't recommend the two of you enough to everyone who has taken the time to tune into this. We did do a recording, so I want to make sure that I'm able to get the files to you so that we can get this online for those who were unable to be here today. But we are going to be doing more of these. And again, thank you so much for your time today and for everyone that tuned in.